Why do so many marriages today fall apart? And what can we do to prevent them from falling apart? What is it about something that's in the air today that's making life difficult for all of us? Maybe we can learn a little bit of the art of marriage. I'm going to be very politically incorrect, if you don't mind. Bear with me. If you're a shadchan, you must ask the question and say, I make shidduch, and I want the shidduch to actually last and to be real and enduring. How do you do that? What do we do to make these impossible unions actually last and become real? The reason why marriages fall apart is because men don't know how to be men and women don't know how to be women. And so somewhere along the marriage, instead of a man marrying a woman, it's more like two women being married. And they're not really sure how to handle this newfound relationship. And so it falls apart. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the way we're trained, the old Torah way, is not good enough, because we today believe in the feminist movement and we believe in the rights of women, and therefore when a man and woman get married, they're equal and they're both sharing the burden of everything, and the woman is just the same as the man and there's no difference between them. And therefore what we've done is, in the quest to be modern, we've destroyed the fabric of what makes people happy. And we may be modern, but we're just unhappy. You know what makes us unhappy? Imagine you are acting out. And that means you're just sometimes, if you're human, this happens to you. You just sometimes get all flustered and emotional and you fall apart. You feel some anxieties. You feel stressed out. What do you want most at those times when your feelings are stronger than you can handle? What do you want that should happen at that time? Wouldn't you want someone next to you who was able to hold your feelings for you, be able to show you some certainty, be able to send you a message that you're okay, you're special, and it's difficult, but it's going to be awesome. And in fact, it is awesome right now. If you don't have that, you fall apart and you stay fallen and you stay broken. And this could happen to a person for years and years and years. In a healthy marriage, a woman has a husband who's able to give her the certainty that she wants, who's able to be there for her. The problem is, if you just say those words nowadays, it sounds like, whoa, so he's going to be abusive and narcissistic and whatever other words we use. And it's true. That's exactly what happens when we don't do it correctly. In other words, let's just say that a man is trying to be there for his wife. But he is also human. And he too has all his emotional craziness going on. And what does he want? He wants her to hold it for him. And so he comes along and shares with her all his weaknesses. And now, in that relationship, he's being the female, she's being the male. You see, a female and a male, like Lego pieces, they have a female and a male. The male piece is the one that has that little Lego piece, right? And it's protruding. And the female has that piece that fits right in. And the male is the giver, and the female is the recipient. When a male is a recipient, or when a female is a giver, relationships go awry. They cannot exist. But every single human being, man and woman, is sometimes a male and sometimes a female. Sometimes you're feeling strong and sometimes you're feeling weak. It is the nature of the game. It's not possible to be one or the other and never have any weaknesses. You will always have a blend of both together. What you want is, when you're feeling that feeling of weakness, that's an opportunity, that's a female feeling, an opportunity of a male to enter and insert some certainty and a sense of you're okay. Take a relationship between a mother and a son, a little boy. What does mommy do for the little boy? Little boy comes, scraped himself. Mommy, mommy, mommy. What does mommy do? It's a boo-boo, right? Gives a kiss, a hug, maybe gives the Band-Aid. Want a Band-Aid? Yeah, absolutely. And the kid puts a Band-Aid on and feels so good because the Band-Aid makes you feel good. What's mommy doing in that case? She's taking the little boy who's now broken, feeling like the female, feeling like he's finished, and she's coming in and filling in the void. She's being the male in the relationship with her son, because that's the way Hashem designed it. Little children are recipients. Adults are givers. An adult is the male, the giver in this relationship. Every single one of us does the same thing. Just because you get older doesn't mean you don't act out like a little tiny 2-year-old. We do the same thing. We don't like to admit it, right? But it's true. We all have those moments where we feel very, very weak. And if you don't have the certainty next to you, you're stuck. You have no idea how to escape it. Imagine in a good, solid marriage. Imagine a wife has a husband who absolutely respects her, who feels completely and totally how special she is, and who in no way is going to be abusive. But when she has that intense feeling, he is able to be there for her. He stands in the middle of the tension, absorbs all her negativity, and gives her the certainty that it's okay. Wouldn't that be something that she would crave? But what if, when she gets angry, he feels that she's angry at him, and he takes her anger and feels it back and plays ping pong with her? How do you play ping pong? I take the ball, swing it at you, you receive it, you give it right back. Instead of absorbing it, you send the ball right back. So I send a negative feeling to you, you send an even more negative one back. Because if I'm angry, I'm not angry at you. But you are, because you're telling me that I am such and such. Got it, but I don't mean it. Don't take me so literally. So when you feel I'm angry and you feel the anger and take it right back and you get angry, you know what happens in homes? They go on fire. Why do homes go on fire? Because ish, the isha, are both esh and esh. Ish is an esh, and isha is an esh. And together, the home can be on fire. You ever see homes on fire? Yeah, it's what happens when feelings are untamed and animalistic and are not harnessed in the correct way. The only way to do so, ish ve'isha zachu. Zachu means to merit? Not really. Lizdachech. When they refine themselves, shchina b'neihem. And they bring the shchina between them. Because ish has a yud in the fire. Isha has a hey in the fire. So when an ish takes the yud out of his fire, and the isha takes the hey out, and together they found yudke, that's God. Now they can change. Now they can be a marriage. What does a man do when he's acting out? When he's being a female? Yes, it happens to him exactly the same as it happens to a woman. You know what he does? He needs someone to hold his feelings. But that someone is not supposed to be his wife. Because his wife is a makabel, a recipient. That doesn't make them not equal. A man and a woman are equal. Equal in importance, equal in the sense that they both deserve everything, and you never disrespect one another. But the man is the mashpia, and the woman is the makabel. The man is the giver, and the woman is a recipient. If a man is receiving from every other source, then he himself is uncomfortable in his own skin, and he can never be there for her. For example, if a man succumbs to addictions, what's wrong with an addiction? What's more wrong than anything else? It means that when you have a feeling, you don't know what to do with it. And you're feeling an urge, and you succumb to that urge, instead of being strong. Noticing, I have an urge. There's nothing wrong with being an addict. There's nothing wrong with having an urge. What's wrong is acting out on it. In fact, having an urge is exactly what makes you strong. You discover your ability to resist urges. That's called being a male. A man, in order to do this, needs a relationship with Hashem. He needs a relationship with God. Because the only place to carry your feelings to is to God. There's no other place to go to. You may need a mashpia. You may need a coach. Someone out there who will be able to hold them with you and to be there in the challenge, in the hurt, in the difficulty. Because life gets overwhelming. But ultimately, what that mashpia is going to do for you is connect you to Hashem. It's all okay. In order for us to learn how this is done, how it's done properly, it's not psychology. We need a God-based approach. Because anything else will lead you to that space of, okay, and who says? If you have Hashem as your anchor, then it works for one simple reason. Because it's true, that's why. See, if I'm trying to feel certain, I'm feeling very, very anxious and I want to feel certain. How do you know? Maybe it is bad. Maybe you are going to get hurt and die and wounded and whatever else may happen, God forbid. How do you know? Maybe it's terrible and maybe it's going to get even worse. And you say, yeah, but it's not a good idea to succumb to your anxieties. Okay, that's true, it's not a good idea, but it is true that I am anxious. The only way to overcome is if you have Hashem and you realize Hashem controls everything. Now let's understand what that means. We tend to look at Hashem as our creator. When he's our creator, he doesn't have enough power over there to take us out of our instabilities. If we want a relationship with Hashem where he can actually carry us out of our instabilities, we need something deeper, a deeper relationship with Hashem. I'll tell you why. If God is the creator, then he created a world, and the world functions based on nature. And if it functions based on nature, well, nature is survival of the fittest, and therefore I may fall apart. Who says I'm going to endure and succeed at this? There's no way for me to know. But when we learn what Hashem truly is, we discover why there's absolute certainty over there. Here's the reason. We live in a world. Everything that we do within the framework of this world. But this world is actually non-existent. The whole thing is a mirage. It's fake. Now, you're going to think about that when you're acting out. Watch how it's going to work. But let me go through first the meditation over here. We do this meditation every single morning. It's called Shachris. And during davening, we say the following words. Hashem is Adon Haniflaot. In English, Adon, master, Haniflaot, of wonders. What does it mean, master of wonders? Master of wonders. We typically translate that as master who does wonders. Hashem who does wonderful things. Thank you, Hashem, for doing wonderful things. But then it would say Adon Oseniflaot, maybe. Adon Haniflaot is not the master who does wonders. Adon Haniflaot means the master of wonders. That means wonders view him as a master. What you consider to be the greatest, most awesome wonder that could ever happen is to him an absolute nothing. There's nothing impressive when God does a miracle. It's like, okay. It's obvious. It's clear. Hashem is not limited to creation. Hashem is unlimited. There's nothing at all that bars, that blocks Hashem. Hashem is absolutely, totally, and utterly unlimited. Bli gvul. So when you say, wow, Hashem did something so amazing, he's like, oh yeah, right. I mean, yeah, of course. Like an afterthought. See what it means? Adon Haniflaot. When you look at creation and you marvel at God's creation, and you should, we do that in davening also, but after you marvel at creation, realize that creation is not marvelous. Actually. The only reason it's marvelous to you and I is because we live in a small little being, and we're small worldly little creations. And so we say, wow, Hashem, you're so amazing, you created me. He's like, yeah, I did, that's true. Oh, didn't notice you, sorry. Hashem is unlimited. That means the world doesn't mean anything to him. He is master of wonders. So what you consider to be the greatest wonder, which is creation, he's like, yeah, it's true. I did that. Yep. Nothing impressive. Whenever you have a problem, whenever you feel like the world's about to fall apart, like you need a lot of money, and if you don't get that money right now, who knows what happens? You get evicted, and you may lose whatever you may lose. And you're as worried as you could ever get. When your life feels like it's falling apart, and you're finished, and you're wondering, how am I supposed to do this? Think about this. The whole existence is a non-reality. Hashem is like, I'm here with you. Right here. Doesn't make a difference. That's what it means to have certainty. So you're like, so why am I here, Hashem? If this means nothing and it's all dumb, why am I suffering? Why am I struggling? And Hashem inserts something very powerful over here. He says, this world is absolutely nothing to me. But there's one thing that matters to me more than anything else. It's why I made the world, why I created the world. It's why everything is worthwhile. What is that? What do I want? I want one thing. The whole world is zero. It's of zero value to me, nothing. But at the epicenter of the world lies something which is of critical importance to me. And what is that? Torah and mitzvahs. Chesed is one of the things. Yes. So when a Jew puts on tefillin, what does he have over there? He's able to extract himself from this dumb, ridiculous, puny existence and rise up to touch the divine. I had a conversation last night with a young man. He's learning in a yeshiva. And you know what I noticed, what I heard from they're telling me I'm not there every day, but what I'm hearing is that he's slipping. He's falling totally off. His brothers, he's one of like a whole bunch of kids, and all his old brothers, one by one, slipped off. And they all became not religious, somewhere in the middle of yeshiva. And you're watching it happen. I'm like, you're 15 and he's already not there. He's holding you like he looks, right? He looks the part still, but he's not religious. That's the truth. So I had a chat with him. In the conversation, I was asking, what's the issue? I don't think it's anything, that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it didn't strike me that it's anything, like he's not acting out. The sweetest kid in the world. I don't think it's any kind of molestation or abuse or any of that. He's just sitting over there saying, I don't understand why I should be learning Gemara all day long. And I don't understand why I should put on tefillin every single day. Like, what's the point? It's the same thing every day. I said, do you believe in Hashem? Of course. I love Hashem. I see him all the time with me. He's an absolute maimin, an absolute believer. But what's the mitzvah got to do with my relationship with Hashem? I love him. So why should I be learning Gemara all day long? Why should I put on the tefillin every day? Good question. What's the answer? I listened to him. I listened. And I said, am I correct that you're bored? He says, very true. He says, would I be correct in saying that you're feeling indifferent and you're feeling apathetic? He's like, absolutely. And is that why you keep on like bullying other kids? He can sit there in a class and literally another kid's next to him. Like, you don't understand where that's coming from. He'll take a stick or something and he'll like bang the kid on his head. Like that. And I'm like, did you notice the other kid there? And he's a sweetie pie, a real sweet kid. But what would you do if you were just so bored? He's like, gotta do something. So if you smack the other kid on his head and you keep on doing it for a long time, you will elicit a reaction and you'll feel some life. That's what you need when you're bored. So I had a long chat with him. And I was trying to find the ins, how to get in. I'm not sure I got in yet. You know what I think I did? I sat with him on the phone for an hour and a quarter. And it's very difficult to find an hour and a quarter to sit on the phone with a kid. As I was hoping, I'm hoping that he notices that someone cared enough to sit on the phone with him for an hour and a quarter and to talk about him. And that in itself should open him up to feel a little bit of something of value, that he's special, and that there's something very, very unique about him. Because you see, I said to him, look, you're feeling indifferent, right? You want to feel not indifferent? He says, yeah. I said, why? What's wrong with feeling indifferent? He's like, well, then I'm bored all day and I'm whatever, what should I do? I said, no. It's good to feel indifferent. It's awesome. You're special for feeling indifferent. He's like, what? I said, well, remember, Hashem wants a home in this world. He wants a dira b'tachtonim, a home down here in this world. How are you going to make a home for Hashem in this world? You have to look at whatever is going on in your life right now and say, welcome Hashem to my humble abode. I am feeling right now very indifferent. So I'm going to welcome Hashem to my space of indifference. If you didn't feel indifferent, who needs you? You can bring Hashem to a place where he's never been before, where someone who's indifferent feels the power of God in his life. That's amazing. So to me, you're actually a bigger chassid than anyone else in this yeshiva. Because I think you have the biggest challenges right now. So you look at yourself and you think that I'm the worst. I'm the only kid who doesn't care. You're actually the best. Because you can bring Hashem to a place where he never was before, where nobody else can take him to. Look at yourself. You're feeling indifferent. Okay, great. Watch this. We sat down. We felt a feeling of indifference. We felt what it's like to feel indifferent. Sat in a feeling. till you feel it in the heart. It's really challenging to do that with a 15-year-old, by the way. But he did it. And he sat down, felt it. We just closed our eyes for a whole long 2 minutes, and we were feeling what it's like to feel indifferent. Yeah, sitting in that feeling. So you know something? When you put on tefillin, you believe in Hashem, right? Hashem wants us to put on tefillin. You only need to put it on once. You don't need to put it on every day. Next time you put it on one time, put it on and think to yourself how Hashem, who's master of wonders, who's above everything, Hashem wants little me to put on tefillin. That's his desire. That's what makes him happy. I don't know why, but he says it in the Torah. That part he believes, right? So we got that part. Hashem wants you to put on tefillin. What you need to do is allow that message to seep into you. See, what we do is we go with a tefillin and we go, wrap it up, put it on, and then what? There's no feeling. Mitzvahs need what's called simcha shel mitzvah. Simcha shel mitzvah means you want to feel the joy of what it means to get to do a mitzvah. So it requires a moment of meditation. The meditation is, the world is, as 15-year-olds say, stupid. The whole thing is ridiculous. Nothing about this makes any inch, one iota of sense. There's no point. That's your feeling of indifference. Sit in that feeling. It's true. That's why you sit in it. Because you're right. You are absolutely correct. Whatever feeling you're feeling right now, the feeling of indifference, is 100% true. Nothing makes a difference. But Hashem is the only reality. It doesn't make a difference because it comes, it goes, it's here today, gone tomorrow. No point in anything. True. Accept that truth and bring Hashem into that truth. And now you look at yourself and you say, I get to put on tefillin. I get to do something which is meaningful to God. No idea why it's meaningful. Do that today and allow yourself to feel the joy of how special you are. And then go right back to your indifference. Now tomorrow, wake up and feel again the indifference or whatever you're feeling today. And ask yourself a question, do I want to repeat that? Do I want to feel it again? Do I want to feel again how awesome it is? Wow, I get to touch the divine again. If you're not in the mood, it's not going to work. But if you allow yourself to feel, to walk right into the tense feeling, and to insert into that tension the tefillin, you know what happens? You feel happy and excited. See, every single Jew has inside of him and her boundless love for Hashem. We have reservoirs of neshama, of soul. And if you detach us from the soul, we feel empty and we feel scared and overwhelmed. And we feel anxious and indifferent. What that is lack of soul. We're not touching our neshamas. If you're not touching your neshama, it's just so lonely. And you want to touch the neshama. When the Jews went out to exile, what does King David say? In Tehillim, chapter 80. He says, Gefen mi Mitzrayim tasiyah. You drove the Gefen is a grapevine, out of Egypt. Mitzrayim is all your Meitzarim, all your limitations. Every Jew is a Gefin. How do you get that beautiful, sweet, incredible beverage out of the Gefin? Out of the grape. You see grapes, they're like impenetrable. They got the skin that is smooth and it doesn't look like there's anything inside there until you squeeze. And if you squish them, suddenly that stuff comes out, and that is the stuff that becomes wine. That's what every Jew is. The best grapes, the Mishnah tells us, there's doliois and ragliois. There are these high grapes and low grapes on the grapevine. The best ones, which ones? The low ones. Because when he's low, it means he's saturated, he's heavy with wine. The best grape is the low grape. Take the lowest one and then step on it. What that means is Hashem tells us every single Jew is awesome and unbelievable. He has so much power inside his neshama. But Golus, exile, breaks us. It shatters us. When you act out, that's just an expression of Golus, of the whole exile, the whole thing. It's acting out because you don't feel a connection. And you're right. What do you want to do at that time? Accept it. Sit there with that feeling and realize how beautiful it is. If no one else is giving you empathy, give it to yourself. Don't say, I don't want to feel this way. Just identify what you're feeling right now. And what you'll discover is, on a grapevine, the lowest grapes, the raglios, when you stepped on and you're feeling zerschmettert, and you're feeling the whole world destroying you and you're crushed, you're the lowest grape, you have the greatest power. The raglios, the lowest grape, have the most wine in them. Because people who are successful and happy and just everything's going fine are so sad inside. There's no meaning, there's no depth. And they come crashing. That's why those people who make it up to the highest level in Hollywood and they get the 50 million likes and then they commit suicide. Because so what? When you're crushed, that's your opportunity. You're the ragliest, the lowest grapes. And then you look at yourself and you say, wow, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. My life is so crazy. This is wacky. And you don't run away from it. It's true. It is. But so is everyone and everything else. It's also there. Into that space, you insert, Hashem, what's this for? Oh, you made it for one simple reason. You want Jews and you want Torah and you want mitzvahs. And then you go grab the next mitzvah that's available to you. You grab it and you jump. It's like, got it. That's my mitzvah. I get to light Shabbos candles. That's why before you light Shabbos candles and before you put on tefillin and before you do anything else, you have mindfulness. It's called a bracha. But you want to think about the bracha. Baruch, drawing down you, Hashem, to become king of ha'olam. What's olam? He'elim, the concealment, the acting out. What we want when we're being female and when we're being crushed, which we all are in the humanness of what we are, is to feel a power from Hashem descending upon us and just giving us that certainty. God says, yeah, it's dumb. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's stupid. Yes, you're feeling overwhelmed. Yes, you're feeling anxious. Yes, because the whole thing is there. But you realize Hashem is Adon Niflaot and you have Hashem at your side. How do you get Hashem? You're jumping for the next mitzvah, the next opportunity of connecting yourself to Hashem. When you realize that. Otherwise, mitzvahs are just little things you do. Don't even notice them. Yeah, I did it. It says, Poishe Yisrael Melei Mitzvahs Karimoy. Every single Jew, even the worst of the worst, is filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate. So why is he a Poishe Yisrael? What's wrong with him if he does mitzvahs? All Jews do mitzvahs, but not all Jews meditate on mitzvahs. Not all Jews reflect on the power of mitzvahs. Not all Jews feel the depravity of living a life without it and how it is acting out. And not all Jews get to feel the simcha, the absolute joy of doing a mitzvah. The way I think about it, it's like if you're walking on one of the, these like tiles have lines over there. Imagine you're walking up one of them. And you're walking from one end of the room to the other. Walk on the tile, on this one line. Could you stay in the line? Let's say it's wide. It's like 1 foot wide. Could you walk on a 1 foot tile, line of tiles all the way to the other end without falling off? Why not? Yeah. What if I chisel out on the side of 100-foot fall on this side, and on the other side, 100-foot fall. And now I tell you, do the same thing. Walk on that 1-foot wall to the other end. Could you? You could, right? You'll just feel nervous the whole way. Because you'll realize everything is dependent on this. Now suddenly you get, oh my gosh, if I mess this one up, uh-oh. In a sense, that's what mitzvahs are like, in a positive sense. We're like, if I didn't do the mitzvah, what happens? Nothing. So I'll do it, whatever, fine, I'll do the mitzvahs. Then you get to ask yourself the question, and why am I doing the tefillin every day? But when you realize what's on this side and what's on that side, it's just ridiculous. Everything else in life is just absolutely ridiculous. And a relationship with God is an anchor of emes, of truth. So now you throw yourself at that anchor because you want to feel that. When you do this, you become a mensch. You become a human being. See, when Adam was created, Hashem said, Adam ayin la'avod et ha'adamah. There's no man, I don't feel an Adam. I don't see any mensch here. So let's make one. Nase Adam. Then he made that man. And he put him in Gan Eden. And he says, you, Adam, are going to control everything. You will dominate everything. The whole world will be controlled by you. Don't feel so controlling. Don't feel abusive. Because you, in order to control, you need to be a woman to Hashem. You want to be a man to the rest of creation? You're going to be absolutely nullified to Hashem. And then you could be a male to the rest of creation. One thing I'm telling you, don't eat that fruit. What does he do? He succumbs to a feeling. He acted out. Oh, it must have been a very powerful, intense feeling that he had. No doubt about that. It must have been so powerful. But he succumbed. How sad, because at that moment he became a recipient from the world instead of a giver. So Hashem says, get out of here. What are the words that he used when he says it? Vayigaresh et ha'adam. Translate Vayigaresh et ha'adam. He threw him out. He drove him out. I'll give you a deeper translation. He drove out the Adam. He drove out the mensch. Not he drove man out. He drove the manliness out. He's no longer a man. Vayigaresh et ha'adam. He kicked him out. And now, this man is open to every little thing that happens out there. He's a recipient from everyone and everything. Because Hashem says, you got to go fix yourself. You messed up. You got to go now and work hard to fix yourself, to bring yourself back to a closeness and a relationship with Hashem. And then we went out to Golus, to exile. There was a short period of time when we came back and we were able to be in the land and we were able to serve Hashem the correct way. And then we messed up again and again. Man was kicked out, no longer able to be man, and now we're in Golus, in exile. And what are we yearning for? To go back to that place called Gan Eden. To go back to the days of Mashiach. Contrary to what we think, the days of Mashiach are not the reward for the work we're doing here. That's another step called Chesed Mesim, yes. The days of Mashiach are not the reward, they are when you get to do the thing you were supposed to be doing in the first place correctly. So when you get to be a human, you get to be a mensch. And when you get to be a mensch, it means that now at this point, now you serve Hashem and therefore you dominate the entire creation. Because they're looking for someone who's certain, who gives them a relationship with Hashem, and only man can do that. That's why it says when Mashiach comes, what is Mashiach? Yeshayahu the prophet says, Yarum v'nisa v'gava me'od. He'll be great and lofty and very high. Me'od. How do you spell me'od? Mem, Aleph, Daled. How do you spell Adam? Same letters. Aleph, Daled, Mem. When Mashiach comes, you go back to becoming a mensch. Because you're no longer influenced by external forces. You're now able to influence yourself. But Adam is an acronym for Adam, David, Mashiach. Aleph, Daled, Mem. Those are 3 periods in history. Adam had it, lost it. David got it back, built a Beis HaMikdash. Well, prepared. And then Mashiach. That's history. History is us fighting against all these forces inside of us. And they wither us away and they chisel in our whole being. And we have to work hard all the time. I'm acting out, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling lost, I'm becoming a woman. Become a man in your relationship with Hashem. Every man, every woman's got to do it, actually. It means accepting, empathy. It's hard, yes. And don't succumb to the external temptations and be a female to the world. Be a male to the world. Don't tell your problems how great God is. Don't tell God how great your problems are. Tell your problems how great God is. It doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Any situation that seems impossible and you feel weak, accept it's not there. It's there to strengthen you because you have a relationship with Hashem. So you feel how difficult it is and you go right back to your space. That's called being a mensch. It is very significant to note that we Jews dream of a time when we'll be offering korbanot to Hashem. Isn't that interesting? Nowadays, we replaced korbanos, we replaced sacrifices with tefillah, davening, when the shalom upon for saying it. But I'm going to ask you a question. Which would you prefer to be doing? Davening? When you do it properly? Davening is so beautiful. You meditate, you connect. Love davening. Some people find it very difficult and boring. But davening, when you get to know what it is, it's so uplifting. Which do you prefer, that or taking goats and doves and slaughtering them and then sprinkling their blood on the top and the bottom and then squeezing it out and whatever? What? I'm like, what am I yearning for? For korbanos? V'sham na'aseh lefanecha kemitzvat retzonecha, et korbanot chovateinu, then we'll do what you wanted. Korbanos, really? I prefer the davening, actually. That's because we don't understand what korbanot are. What is davening? Davening is a little faint image of what korbanot are. Davening is a space where you strengthen yourself, you strengthen your core every single day. Why do we daven every day? Because every day the world's going to chisel at you and gnaw at you and say, you're not worthy, you're worthless, and you're going to feel overwhelmed. And what you want to do is every day turn to God and say, Hashem ro'i lo echsar. Hashem is my shepherd, I shall not lack. And you feel that presence of Hashem through every challenge and every difficulty, and you meditate and you say, Hashem is Adon Haniflao. This world is absolutely useless. It's so ridiculous. But this world you get to serve Hashem. That's awesome. Davening is a meditation which strengthens your core. If you don't daven, you become weak. If you daven properly, the more properly you daven, the more you get it. The more you strengthen that connection to God. You see, I am a divine being, and now I can walk into a valley of death. I walk right into it and I look at it and I say, I'm stronger than that. Nothing bad ever happens to me. I have a relationship with Hashem at my side, and I feel the power of God. You know what the problem is? That it's very difficult for the world around us to feel it. So when I daven, I feel it. But does the world around me feel it? Korbanot means the same as davening. It's the same meditation as davening, but it actually affects the animal outside. And we don't even relate to that. We don't understand that. Because we're thinking a goat and shachting a goat and whatever. All the goats, all the animals in the world, the physical animals, all want to align themselves with divine power. That's what happened when Adam was in Gan Eden. And we lost that power. So what we're doing in davening now is strengthening our core so that we can be resilient and overcome all the challenges out there because we have God at our side. But does it really have an effect on the world outside? Not so much. The world's still going to attack us. But Korbanos is when the whole world is synchronized. Get that and you realize how powerful Korbanos are. Korbanos means nothing in the world blocks the power of God. Everything in everything you feel Hashem's awesome, mighty presence, even in the animal. And so they would take a physical animal, and that became foreign to us. We don't understand what it means. You tell them, oh, I get it. Oh, so it means even the animalistic, the actual animal changes. I'll give you an example of how this operates. It comes across in the way Israel nowadays relates to its relationship with the world. Are we male as a people, or are we female? We've been female for too long. We've been allowing everybody else to dictate everything else to us and thinking that we're being nice. It's not nice, it's weak. When you become nice, it means you have no power. The Jew is the epicenter of creation. A Jew is divine. He's godly. He is supposed to show the way for everybody else, but we don't. Take an example. The United States of America is Israel's best friend. Very special. They give Israel weapons. They give Israel money. They give Israel a sense of support in the United Nations where everybody else is against. And only because of America is Israel able to survive. And then America says, Israel, you got to stop killing civilians. Israel, you have to pull out of that. You have to disengage. You have to allow. You have to let go. You have to be weak. Such a beautiful letter I saw from the Lubavitcher Rebbe where he said, in 1956 there was the Sinai campaign. America prevailed and pushed Israel, France, and Britain to pull out. Later on, not so long later, within a year I think, a message came from the American president to Israel. Look what happened because you pulled out. Look, they just took over and now we lost it. Why did you pull out? And they're like, excuse me, you said to pull out. You know what the answer was? From the Lubavitcher Rebbe? America didn't want you to listen to them. Which wife wants her husband to actually listen to her when she gets angry at him and get angry and run away? She wants certainty. America looks up to Israel. America was built on people who didn't listen to anybody else. They just went and built a country. And if they would have listened to what everybody else said, they wouldn't have built it. They would have been wimps. They're looking for someone who's strong and certain in their position. The poor Arabs, it's really, really, really sad. Because the Arabs are suffering so much in Gaza and other places today. You know why they're suffering? It's because of the Jews. Because the Jews keep on telling them, we got a two-state solution for you. We'll give you a country. We'll give you a pull-out. Just be nice. We'll give you something. And so the poor Arabs go crazy. Because they keep on, you're giving us a country, so let's make a thing and let's try to fight them, whatever. They're weak. They're looking for someone with certainty to tell them, Bubale, it's our country. You're not getting it. Over. Done. No country, no nothing. You live here. This is Israel. Oh, it's apartheid. So, if you live here, this is Jews and Judaism. That's how we work. You're able to work here and do it. Anything else you do, you're out. Sow them a sense of strength and you will make them happy. As Rashi says, right? That the nations scream at us that you're listed, you're thieves, you stole the land from us. You know why they're saying that? Because we're not saying the truth. It's our land. Finished. If you're not a man, everybody else acts out. Yes, it's our fault for not being a man. You want to have a good marriage? Good marriages happen when a man is an Adam. He's standing over there and he's a man. In a good marriage, a woman turns to the man, to her husband, and strengthens him. She tells him, when I act out, be there for me. Don't run away. Stand there and adapt, get my feelings and hold me. And accept it with absolute respect. It doesn't mean you should ever be in any way disrespectful. But hold my feelings for me. And when you have an issue, go to your mashpia, go to your coach and talk to Hashem. And both of us together will talk to God in davening and strengthen and make ourselves resilient. Because every single one of us is weak. We're weak because the world is, because we're just little nothings, earthlings. But every single one of us has the greatest power ever. And as we near the times of Mashiach, then we'll become Adam again. As we get closer to that moment of being an Adam, when we offer korbanos and the whole world will change, Hashem is already giving us that power. He's allowing us to see and to feel how great it is. When you're aligned with Hashem, when you're a female to Hashem, you can become a male to everybody else around you. You can be resilient and powerful and help them and be the Adam you were always supposed to be.